Who would you like representing the United States in a deal with Iran, with this regime there?
Well, I think Hillary would do a good job. Hillary Clinton, I think, is a terrific woman. I mean, I'm a little biased because I've known her for years. Yeah, I know her very well. She's very talented.
What do you think about that? The Republican presidential race starting to get a little bit ugly with these web ads. That was a new one from Jeb Bush, hitting Donald Trump for his past statements on none other than Hillary Clinton. He doesn't have very kind words for her anymore, apparently. It follows an internet ad from Trump attacking Bush on immigration. And we asked Jeb Bush about that last hour.
And the simple fact is, our ad simply uses his own language, his own words, to say that he is more a Democrat than a Republican, that he's for higher taxes rather than cutting taxes, that he believes in a single-payer system, that he's not only pro-choice but believes in partial birth abortion. Those are his words, not mine. I didn't exaggerate a single thing.
All right, Rich Lowry is editor of the National Review and a Fox News contributor. Brad Woodhouse is president of Correct the Record and a former communications director for the DNC. So we're 5 months away from Iowa, and this thing's starting to get pretty nasty. Some people might say it's about time in terms of some of the pushback about Donald Trump's record. So, Rich, let me ask you this. You know, will that ad that Jeb Bush's people have put out be a problem for Donald Trump?
I think some of those past statements and positions will be a problem for Trump. Now, in that ad, some of it goes back to 1999. I don't think that's really going to cut, but some of it's more recent. Obviously, the praise of Hillary Clinton, and I'm not sure Republican voters they're really aware of all these Trump heterodoxies in the past, or certainly they haven't focused on them yet. So these things could damage Trump over time, but I'm not sure it's a great idea for Bush just to be involved in this constant tit-for-tat with Trump. One, because there's no tit-for-tat for Trump, as we know. There's thermonuclear war. And two, I'm not sure, the split screen with Trump does Bush with a lot of favors, because Trump seems like this WWE wrestler, and earnest, wonky Jeb Bush seems like Ned Flanders.
Yeah, but Rich, just staying with you for a moment, people would say, look, you got to hit back. Mitt Romney didn't punch back. And Jeb, you can't just sit back and take it. You got to get out there and fight fire with fire. Enough of this joyful campaign stuff. Yeah, well, I'm sure that's what they're telling themselves, and Trump's hitting them, so they have to hit back. But with Bush, people want to know he's a fighter, but they already know from the last 8 years that he's quite adept at scolding his own side. And I think they really want to see him in a big fight with the left, with the media, with Democrats. Okay. And the upside, whatever you think of Bush's strategy, the upside in this fight for the rest of the field is let someone else take on Trump, and we'll mind our own business. Yeah. All right, let's play the other ad, which is the Act of Love ad from Donald Trump's folks.
Yes, they broke the law, but it's not a felony. It's kind of it's an act of love.
Fair or unfair, Brad?
Well, look, I think in Donald Trump's perspective, it's fair. I mean, what Jeb Bush said about his web ad is, well, we just used Donald Trump's words. Well, I think in that respect, Donald Trump just used Jeb Bush's words on immigration. I agree with Rich. I actually think Trump is playing a brilliant game here in baiting Jeb Bush into a fight that I'm not sure that he can win in this daily tit for tat. Where Jeb Bush is going to have to prove his chops is in the next debate and in the debates going forward. That's when millions more Americans are going to be paying attention than any that will ever see these web videos. Yeah,
I think that's a great point. And I think that, the next debates to come are going to be defining moments for all of these folks. When you look at the language, Rich, Jeb Bush seems to be, when we spoke with him just moments ago, he's kind of moving the ball on what he wants to talk about. I said, do you stand by the act of love statement, which is really something he felt very strongly about in terms of what drives immigrants to come to this country. He said it's an act of love. But he wants to focus on the fence now. He's all about the fence. He's also talking in Florida about school choice today, something that he has, in all fairness, worked on for many, many years in Florida and advocating for it across the country. But I think, the Common Core language is not something you're going to hear him talking too much about, at least as much as he's able to avoid it.
That's right. Now, school reform has been a passion and a major cause of his for years and years and years. but he won't be talking about Common Core the way he did in the past. And on immigration, he's clearly shifting his tone. And that act of love statement, you can understand what he meant. Most illegal immigrants, they come here for jobs. They come here to take care of their families. But it's potentially very damaging. People forget the end of Rick Perry's campaign in 2012 began when he said in a debate that if you oppose in-state tuition for illegal immigrants, you don't have a heart.
You don't have a heart.
And it was never the same after that.
All right. Very interesting. We'll see where it goes. Thanks so much, you guys. Good to see you both.
Thanks, Martha.
So in the meantime, the battle is on for the final place on stage. Carly Fiorina, Chris Christie fight for the next Republican presidential debate. Who makes the cut this time? Plus, there's this.